So Candace Owens, who really needs no introduction at this point, was confronted by Piers Morgan about her relationship with Kanye West. Now, they spoke about other topics in the episode, but I wanted to specifically focus on the segment about Kanye because I think it's a perfect distillation of her raging anti-Semitism. I'm going to go through most of the segment and let a lot of it play just so I don't get accused of taking anything out of context. And I'll give pauses when I feel like something is worthy of criticism. But that's enough discussion. Let's get to the video.
I've got to say, personally, I know that you've had a good relationship with him. You've talked to him and so on. As I have done, I interviewed him, tried to give him a bit of benefit of the doubt over various things. I got to say, his sort of brazen stuff now on a daily, sometimes minute-by-minute basis on X with the swastikas, the Nazis, and so on. I just find it utterly repellent. Has anything he's been doing in the last 2-3 weeks changed your mind about what's going on here with him?
When you have a real relationship with someone, you shouldn't be lashing them in the public for anything.
So she starts off by saying that she won't criticize Kanye publicly because they're friends, which could make sense to some degree. Only the issue is that Candace isn't criticizing him behind closed doors either. In actuality, she pretty much agrees with him. Do you think that if she had any substantive criticisms to give him behind the scenes, that she would still have a good relationship with him? The same bipolar, narcissistic Kanye West who walks out 5 minutes into an interview with Tim Pool after receiving slight pushback on his own anti-Semitism.
It is them, though, isn't it? I mean, because because when you think about it, consider it. In 2018,
what do you mean it's not? What do I mean? Okay, so how about? Are you leaving?
Are you afraid of the press?
He's gone. I'll say it right now. You guys want to bring that stuff up, and then think we're not going to have a conversation.
Have the discussion.
You think he's going to come in here and say, "Here's my pain, here's my suffering." I'm going to say, "I hear you," and then he's going to say, "And it was Jewish people," and I'm going to be like, "Okay, but don't you consider?" It's like, I'm not going to do this. I refuse.
Funnily enough, Candace actually then proceeds to defend Kanye's statements.
There's something about the entire world having commentary about Kanye when he tweets, and that exact same part of the world telling us that we have to remain mum when Bibi Netanyahu literally goes DEFCON 3, but Kanye tweets something about DEFCON 3. That just makes me uncomfortable and feels really disingenuous. And like I said, when you have an actual relationship with someone, if you have anything to say to them, you should say that to that person directly. And so I'm just not going to partake in this sort of Judas culture of stabbing people in the front when you have a real relationship with them. And I've maintained that consistently, and I'm not going to break that code today.
Now, because she's not only a demon, but a cowardly one at that, she has to dog whistle to her audience instead of being upfront about the fact that she's indeed an anti-Semite. I mean, just look at the language that she's using here. A certain part of the world that will criticize Kanye's DEFCON 3 comments instead of criticizing Netanyahu's attack on the Gazans. And we know this because she explicitly stated similarly when she defended Kanye's comments last year by saying there was a secret society of Jews who ran Hollywood in Washington, D.C. that were doing sinister things, whatever that means.
Kanye West, notoriously, obviously, when he tweeted out, "I'm about to go DEFCON 3 on some Jews," and the media freaked out, and people in the Jewish community were understandably very scared, not knowing what he meant. And I very much abstained from speaking much about the issue because people were so emotional that people couldn't hear, even if I had shared. And even when Kanye did share that he was speaking about specific people in Hollywood that he believed were coming after him and were trying to control him. Rabbi Shmuley Boteach was threatening me, and it wasn't just him, it was also his daughter. They were messaging me saying, "Don't mess with Jews." Very bizarre stuff, and they have not stopped, to be clear. And so what I believe is something that should be explored is whether or not what's happening is that, just like within all communities, there are gangs, right? Gangs can form, we understand this. In the Black community, we've got the Bloods and we've got the Crips. Well, imagine if the Bloods and the Crips were doing horrific things, murdering people, controlling people with blackmail. And then every time a person spoke out about it, the Bloods and the Crips would call those people racist, would get the media to say those people were racist. Any person that was talking about a specific gang, a small group of people, would say, oh my God, no. That's like slavery. You can't at all say anything bad about the Bloods and the Crips. And the entire Black community believed it and was scared and thought, oh my God, like, is slavery actually coming back? What if that is what is happening right now in Hollywood, if there is just a very small ring of specific people who are using the fact that they are Jewish to shield themselves from any criticism? It's food for thought, right? And I think, again, there have been enough people that are speaking out about a ring in Hollywood, also a ring potentially in DC, that we should start to ask those questions. All of us, Black, Spanish, Jewish, Chinese, Japanese, all Americans should want answers, because this appears to be something that is quite sinister.
I don't want to engage in this Judas culture. Again, look at the language that she's using here. A Judas culture? Like, historically, the Jewish character of Judas in Jesus' betrayal has been used as a Christian anti-Semitic attack and trope. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Judas could generally just mean, betrayal. It's been used in common parlance before. And well, if it were literally anybody else, I would grant them that bit of grace. But I think that's the point of Candace using this specific type of language. She wants to have some level of plausible deniability when she says a Judas culture. So as soon as you call her out on it, she can always retreat back to, well, it's not anti-Semitic, it's a neutral term, guys. But even her wording here is gross. Like, what does a Judas culture mean? The culture of the cabal of Jews that you said run Hollywood in DC? Who remembers when she said that the Mengele experiments during the Holocaust sounded like propaganda?
Experimentation, yes, of course, that's been embedded into our minds. The Nazis experimented on innocent people. Candace, come on, that's the difference. They experimented on twins. I mean, some of the stories, by the way, sound completely absurd. I'm like, the idea that they just cut a human up and then sewed them back together. Why would you do that? Literally, even if you're the most evil person in the world, that's a tremendous waste of time and supplies. Just slice a person in half and sew them together. That just sounds like bizarre propaganda, but let's just go with it. Let's say that that's actually true.
Really, Candace? You can't think of a single reason why someone would conduct one of those horrific experiments? Like, psychopaths literally kill their victims and wear their faces. It's almost like there were certain psychopathic lunatics that were enabled by the Nazi Party. Like, does the idea of sadism just mean nothing to you? I mean, a literal lamp of human skin was found at the remains of a concentration camp. And those experiments of twins being cut open and stitched back together, that's a real story. Also, some of those experiments did have utility behind them, like medical or anatomical research. And for the record, that's softcore Holocaust denialism that she just did right there. But let's get back to the video.
I just want to play this clip and get your response to this. I mean, this is him doing, Ku Klux Klan imagery with swastikas and so on. It's so brazen. It's so taunting. And you talk about people who are directly attacking people. He's directly attacking Jewish people when he does this and making them feel extremely uncomfortable, extremely threatened by this, because he's got 32 million people following him on X alone. His social media firepower to galvanize hate against the Jewish people is being laid bare, isn't it, in real time?
Just a question for you. When you saw the Klansman hoodie, why did you say taunting against Jewish people but didn't mention anything about Black people? Yeah, but it's just interesting that of the two things you chose to lean into Jewish people and not to speak about what the Klansman hood represents.
Well, both. Let's say both. I mean, they're both, the Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan were both despicable people who targeted certain members of society and wanted to cause them enormous harm, if not kill them.
I like the way that she points out that Piers highlighted the swastika, almost implying that he's Jewish controlled. Like, where most regular people look at that moment and think, that was kind of weird that he highlighted the effect the swastika has on Jews instead of the Klan's hood having an effect on African Americans. Well, Kanye has largely been making the rounds because of his anti-Semitism. So maybe it was just a misspeak, or he kind of overlooked it. no big deal, right? But no, when you believe in anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about Jews running Hollywood and Washington, D.C., right? Of course, you're going to perceive that little hiccup as a symptom of the aforementioned conspiracy.
And that's
yeah,
why people are finding what he's doing.
That, like, when I saw the image, I thought you were going to say something about Black America and maybe speak about the fact that Kanye's Black, but you just instantly went to accusing or speaking about how Jewish people felt about it. I think that's interesting. I just find that response to be interesting.
Candace, he's literally selling swastikas.
I thought you were going to say something about Black America, even though Piers literally set up the interview as asking you about Kanye's anti-Semitic remarks specifically less than a minute ago. And it's not like, the primary segment is about Kanye's anti-Semitism. It's not like that's kind of been his target minority group for the last 2.5 to 3 years. I think it's interesting. Again, what's the implication of saying that?
Piers, if you would like to provide commentary on, if you want to provide commentary on Ye, I have maintained I'm not going to participate in Judas culture. I don't believe in the emphasis that has been placed on me, knowing that I have a personal relationship with him, to throw him under the bus publicly. It's not the person that I am spiritually, and I'm just not going to partake in it. And I've not moved on that 1 inch. And in fact, as time goes by, I feel stronger and stronger that I should not participate in that culture, because there seems to be something sadistic about the entire world condemning someone and then an individual saying, well, I need you to do it, Candace, because you have a personal relationship with him.
She doesn't want to participate in a sadistic Judas culture. But what can you say, man? It's those damn pesky Jews, So for anyone defending Candace as anything short of a thinly masked anti-Semite, it needs some serious self-reflecting. And the fact that she's as popular a figure as she is really makes me a little bit disappointed in humanity. But what can you do? Anyway, guys, let me know what you thought about today's episode down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow for more news coverage. This has been The Civic Ground with Corbin Sales.